I'm Cami. I'm the founder and director of Boston Flow and a student at Northeastern, going into my 5th year now.
Hi, my name is Yaska. I live here with Cami here at the so-called B-Flow Lounge.
There's Boston Flow Community, which is what we were originally founded on. Our grassroots approach to fostering a safe space for spinners and other artists, musicians, performers to get together and share their skills and their passions and empower each other to make a difference doing what they love. Then there's Boston Flow Productions, which is hosting shows at the venues around in Boston and making these shows kind of accessible to people who enjoy flow arts. And then there's the Boston Flow Troupe to be the performers, that could be hired for events. We just started doing performances, and we started with a few charity gigs, and we do a lot of volunteer performances for fundraisers. So we're not like really too big yet or going to any crazy festivals, but we've definitely applied to a few, and we're looking forward to hearing back from them for this summer. I started making this scrapbook, but then things picked up and I didn't have any more time. So there's a little note here that says, "Keep doing what you're doing, ladies. I love you." I have no idea who wrote that, but they dropped it off in a jar at our very first event, and that's probably what inspired me to keep going.
What is flow? What does it mean? What does it feel like? So honestly, on a scientific level, flow does not necessarily have to pertain to object manipulation, which is like what Boston Flow is based on, what the flow refers to. In that is object manipulation. The focus is so directed and the movement is so sort of fluid and like natural and sort of automatic that it just kind of becomes meditative, right? It just kind of like happens. Or anything, it doesn't even necessarily have to be artistic, but something that is like physical and that requires skill, and especially if there's any sort of repetition involved. Just getting to that state where you are just doing something the absolute most efficient possible way, because your mind and your body have kind of figured out the muscle movements, and as you do it over and over again, it just kind of starts to happen automatically. The level of focus is so acute that there's almost not that much of it. The most effective state for like doing a physical task. It's called flow because of the mental state, because it's so sort of locked in, but also a little bit absent. Like you're absent from your surroundings because just all of you is just going into this task. To me, is what causes the pinnacle of human performance. I feel like this community gives an outlet to a lot of artists who might not have had an outlet before, or just like another outlet. A lot of the time we'll just kind of identify people who aren't necessarily pursuing being an artist. They just like do art, and then we just like hand them this outlet. And then suddenly they get all this great exposure, and like we just like validate a community of artists and performers that might not have even considered like taking themselves that seriously otherwise, and we just like kind of do that work for them.
I'm not really sure I can say that I've fallen in love with performing yet. I still have to get in front of like a really big group of people, and I still get really nervous, but I am in love with hooping, and I think that the moment I fell in love with hooping was probably the first time I brought my hoop to like a festival. It was called Illuminous. I think it was 2014. I guess that was the first time that I found my flow. The first time that I was able to close my eyes and like move the hoop around me and just feel it, and not think about what move I was gonna do next, which is like that state of flow is all about, being able to be on autopilot and doing something so well and for such a long amount of time that you might forget like that you're really thirsty or hungry or tired. So I lost myself. 3 hours went by, and I just kept practicing every day since then.